We've all been there. It's 5:30, everybody's done work, everybody's done with their school, and everybody wants to know what's for dinner. And sometimes you find yourself thinking, well, that's a pretty good question because I have no idea.
Welcome back to Many Hands with the Conleys. I'm Jerry, and this is my daughter, Megan. And tonight we're going to talk about our journey of learning how to feed a large group of people on an everyday basis.
One of the very first obstacles we came across when we all moved in together was one person trying to plan for meals, shop for meals, cook meals, all by themselves.
When different people started cooking meals, we then had issues with certain people making very carby meals, certain people making high sodium meals, really spicy meals, that everybody in the family couldn't eat. So then that became a problem.
And then everybody quit because they got discouraged, and she was doing all the cooking, and then she quit, and then I was doing all the cooking. And either way you look at it, it's not a one-person job.
It's like cooking Sunday dinner for the family every day of the week.
Three times a day.
Yeah. And it's not sustainable for any one person to do. So we had to learn how to communicate what everyone's needs were and how to communicate what had to happen to meet all those needs. And we did that through lots of discussions and family meetings over the kinds of meals we needed. We ended up creating a 3-week rotating menu that has meals that everybody pretty much approves of, that aren't too spicy, that aren't too carby, that aren't too high sodium. And so everybody's dietary needs are met. We also, through many family meetings, have had certain people who've had to learn how to cook without using too much meat or too much of other things when we're trying to do it in we're trying to cook in an economical way. Well, part of it was me learning how to prep the meat and put it away in freezer-sized portions so that when different people went to cook meals, we had meal-sized portions of food so that certain people weren't cooking meals with an astronomical amount of meat that is not physically sustainable when it comes to having to feed a large family.
Something else we did was breaking the overall food tasks into smaller tasks. So it's not just feeding the family. It is meal planning, it is stocking the pantry, inventorying everything, food shopping, and then there's the actual cooking and cleaning that go along. That's the last step.
We also, when it came to meal prep, there's pre-planning prep, and then there's also the day that you cook the meal. And so different people do different things to prep meals over the weekends for the following week so that when it comes time for whoever's going to do meatballs and spaghetti, the meatballs are already pre-made. Or whoever's going to make pancakes, we have our own baking mix that we make that is made over the weekend, stored in the pantry, and they just have to take out the baking mix and make pancakes or make biscuits. And a little bit of the work is done to make it easier when they're actually making the meal. Different family members have different dietary needs, and as that has kind of happened over the past 2 years, we've had to learn how to cook with low sodium, make lower sugar meals, and cook with less preservatives and dyes. Because of that and the rising food prices, we are bulk buying more foods, and we're learning how to cook from scratch more.
Something we realized as we started buying in bulk more is that those foods are easier to store. We're buying less of the crackers, the cereals, those things take up a lot of space. Instead, we have flour, and I mean a lot of flour. And we have baking soda, sugar, oils, all the things that you would need to go into baking things from scratch, which is just one part of cooking from scratch. It's also required changing the way we eat, The kids used to go to cereal almost every morning as their main breakfast. Now we try to have things prepped ahead of time. We make muffins, egg burritos, that we have in the freezer. That way the kids have things they can grab that are made from scratch. They're not eating those highly processed foods that we have to buy pre-made from the grocery store.
With the bulk buying of food, it's become an issue. Where do you store it? Where do you store it all? We have a typical 1928 four-square house that we have additions built onto, but we have a relatively small kitchen with a pantry, not a whole lot of cabinetry. And over the years, we have built-in seats in the dining room so that we can store food in the benches. We also added a cabinet in our bedroom where we had food stored. So we had multiple different places where the food was stored. As more people became involved in grocery shopping and bringing in the food and putting food away, what ended up happening was food got stuck all over the place. And we ended up at one point with 9 jars of mayonnaise because different people didn't realize they were putting mayonnaise in multiple places. And we ended up with no room, but we still had to buy more food because there were certain things we still needed. And so we realized we had to implement some kind of a system and create some kind of a place where we could sort and organize food so that we had an idea of what kind of food we had and what we needed, and then we needed some kind of an inventory list. Because otherwise we were going to the grocery store literally every other day because we didn't have something for a meal. And so we now have a traditional larder, which is a real old-fashioned word, which I'd never even heard of before, but until we had one, we decided we were going to build one. And it's basically cold storage in the basement filled with shelves that we are keeping most of our long-term storage in for food and dry goods. We also have the stuff upstairs in the kitchen and in the dining room is the stuff that we're going to use that particular week. But it allows us to, when somebody runs out of peanut butter on Wednesday, somebody doesn't have to go to the grocery store on Thursday morning to buy more peanut butter. We have a couple extra jars in the basement. And it's made feeding a large group of people much more manageable than having stuff stuck all over and actually having the extra quantity of food so that we're not constantly running to the grocery store. And it's way cheaper to buy in bulk than it is to buy just from the regular grocery store every week.
Well, and it makes cooking easier too. When I want a can of mushrooms, I know where they are. I don't have to look in 4 places.
One of the things that I feel has helped us to become more successful with dealing with feeding with a large group of people is having systems and habits in place that everyone understands what the expectations are, and everyone realizes that they have to play a part in the whole process of making sure that the food's here and that it's sorted, organized, prepped, menu planned, cooked, and that it's cleaned up after. Everybody plays a part in that. We are pre-planning meals. Basically, I orchestrate over all of it and decide what's bought at the grocery store, what grocery store it comes from, so that I'm doing it in an economical way, spending as little money as possible, and getting the best deals and the best products that don't have the fillers and the sodium and the high sugar levels. And other people have to make that happen with me by coming with me grocery shopping and helping unload the car and helping to put things away and add them to the inventory list when we get home. Then usually over the weekend, a lot of food gets prepped for the upcoming week. So it would be like making the baking mix for several meals during the week, pre-cooking onions and peppers for 3 or 4 meals and just putting them in the refrigerator so they're pre-done, making meatballs when we go buy ground beef so that the meatballs are pre-made. That kind of thing happens then over the weekend, and then we have that stuff prepped for the upcoming week. The last thing that we have done that has helped us to be more organized about the way we're grocery shopping is we now have a master grocery shopping list that we are using to grocery shop, and it has the things that we want to have in the house all the time for the meals that we want to have. It's based around the 3-week menu that we have in place and the foods that are on that 3-week menu, so that if everything goes right and works well, we have all the foods in the house to be able to make those foods. It's been a journey. It's not an easy journey. We've had lots of growing pains along the way and lots of family meetings to make it happen, because it requires everybody to participate. It's definitely not something 1 or 2 people can do. It has to be part of family living and part of the culture of the family for everyone to help.
And don't let her fool you. We're not done yet. Things will continue to change and people will continue to mess up, and it's all changing. We're changing on a daily basis.
It's a work
Every
in
time
progress.
the sun goes down, something changes in this house, and yeah, we're not nearly done.
But we've come a long way from where we were.
Yes.
We've come a long way from where we were. And we're much more organized than we were at one point. It's a process. So hopefully in the future we'll be organized and prepared enough that we can share some tools with you that we are creating, but we're not quite there yet.
So we've thrown a lot at you. There's a lot going on here as always. Hopefully, if you're feeling defeated like we have in the past, you've got a little bit of hope now. You can take some of our insights and try and make it work. Our hope is someday in the future, we can break this all down for you and give you a real good look at the inside of all of these systems and how they are supposed to work. So the main point is, whatever you're going to do, start it now. Start it today. Start it at your next grocery shopping trip. Pretend you are the store and the consumer. Have things you're going to need in your house already.
And take the time to share with other family members and start talking about what your family's individual needs are and how everyone can work together to make that happen.
Yeah, remember, you're a team. At the end of the day, if everybody doesn't work together, it won't work. Everybody has to be all in to have this many people in one house.
Yep.
All right, guys, we hope to have another video up for you in the next week or so. Hopefully getting more of a look at not quite the nitty-gritty details, but we're trying right now to give you an overall look at how things run around here. If you have any topic ideas, put them in the comments down below.
If you have any good ideas to share on this topic that we haven't brought up, please share those too.
Like my dad said before, this is not just about us and our family. Just like multi-generational living is not about one person, it's about the whole unit. It's not just about one household. It's about all of us working together, sharing our ideas, finding ways to make things work. So, like I said, if you have any ideas, let us know. Keep coming back for more. Hopefully we'll have them posted. And my memory's not working so good. Alright, if you get a chance, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and until next time, we'll see you later.
Bye.